The ACLU has long been synonymous with freedom of speech. They defended it from even the most hated groups like the Nazis, the Klan, even the Jehovah's Witnesses. It was never about what you were saying. It was about the liberal principle of your right to say it. Well, they have new guidelines now, namely that before taking a case, ACL lawyers should consider if the case might cause offense to marginalized groups, or if a potential client's values are contrary to our values. Contrary to our values? Your values are free speech.
You'd imagine that now the woke circus is finally folding its tents. The companies that once gulped down that rainbow Kool-Aid would finally wake up from their trance. Some did. But a few remained trapped, gripping the same self-destructive ideology that tanked their stocks and shredded their reputation. Then Bill Maher steps in, razor sharp, seasoned, and unafraid, charging straight into the fire to finish what he began. He didn't just talk about the hypocrisy. He torched it live on air for the world to see.
Become the opposite of what you always were, you have to change your name. It's become a trend in America these days, morphing into something completely different from what you were founded as, but still pretending you're the old you. TLC stands for the Learning Channel. They used to have shows like Learn to Read and Ready, Set, Learn. Here's some of their present and recent offerings. Cake Boss, Gypsy Sisters, Toddlers and Tiaras, Extreme Couponing, What Not to Wear, My Teen is Pregnant and So Am I. 1,000-Pound Sisters and Alaskan Women Looking for Love. And that's just the shows about the Palins.
Maher kicks things off by going after TLC, the learning channel that long ago abandoned learning. What was once a space for knowledge and inspiration has turned into a stage for performative wokeness. Documentaries and educational programs have been swapped for shows glorifying chaos, unhealthy lifestyles, and political echo chambers. TLC didn't just lose its way. It threw its compass overboard to chase claps from the outraged mob, trading insight for ideology and curiosity for conformity.
A in A&E stands for arts. Seriously, they used to show the symphony. Now they have Deep Fried Dynasty, Hoarders, Storage Wars, Ghost Hunters, and Psychic Kids. You know, for people who find the Learning Channel too intellectual.
And then there's A&E, once a proud home for arts and culture. Those symphonies and cultural documentaries have been replaced with junk reality TV and pseudo-progressive agendas. The A that once stood for art has vanished, leaving behind nothing but the hollow E. Maher points out how this network, like so many others, abandoned creativity for clicks and slogans. A place once devoted to substance now echoes with shallow messaging dressed up as progress.
History Channel has no history, and MTV has no music. I'm just saying, you can buy a petting zoo and turn it into a bondage dungeon, but you gotta change the sign.
Maher doesn't hold back. He tears through their double standards. These networks parade around with names that no longer reflect what they actually produce. If A&E is all about mindless reality TV now, just call it E. And if TLC is about chaos, drop the pretense of learning. His criticism cuts deep. Stop waving the banner of legacy you've already betrayed. What they're broadcasting isn't culture anymore. It's their own decline.
Last year, Playboy put a gay man on the cover, which I guess we're supposed to celebrate, even though it was 2021 and there's already a dozen magazines for gay guys, 13 if you count Martha Stewart Living. Do we really need LGBT representation in Playboy? There's a transgender teenager on every show on television except reruns of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
And then, unexpectedly, comes Playboy, a brand that once stood for boldness, beauty, and unapologetic masculinity, suddenly rebranding itself for woke approval. Instead of evolving with confidence, it bowed to the political correctness trend, alienating the very audience that made it legendary. Maher calls it out. This wasn't about inclusion. It was a desperate plea for validation. Playboy didn't transform. It surrendered. And in doing so, it became a poster child for performative activism.
The same thing is going on with the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, which now celebrates all kind of bodies except, you know, the good kind. Was it really such a crime against humanity to have one magazine once a year that was about finding creative ways for supermodels to hide their nipples? Now it looks like it's edited by the Huffington Post.
The deeper goal of this cultural shift is clear and dangerous. Undermine masculinity while elevating femininity to an untouchable pedestal. Assertiveness, strength, and competition, once celebrated in men, are now labeled toxic. Meanwhile, women are portrayed as flawless saviors. Every show echoes the same script. Dad's a fool, mom's a hero. Maher breaks it down. It's not equality, it's a deliberate rewrite. Masculinity hasn't just been sidelined. It's been mocked, diminished, and reshaped into something weak.
Valentine's Day, which was always a day to celebrate coupledom. It wasn't complicated. Flowers, chocolates, blah. And yet, every year now, I more and more hear this idea that Valentine's Day is also a day to celebrate being alone. Be your own Valentine. That's right, on the one day was specifically set aside to honor bonding between two people. Don't do that. Make it about the opposite of that. Be your own Valentine. Get your own cheap, stale chocolates at CVS.
Even Valentine's Day wasn't spared. What used to be about connection and shared love has been hijacked, stripped of joy, and turned into a celebration of isolation. Being single is now treated as empowerment, and wanting companionship is mocked as weakness. Maher rips through the absurdity. A day once filled with roses and warmth has been replaced by hashtags and hollow pep talks. Another tradition gutted in the name of progress.
The Boy Scouts of America used to be an organization for boys because girls have cooties. But now the Boy Scouts accept girls, which I guess is inclusive, but it ignores the very important need for boys to sometimes get together as boys to fart in a sleeping bag and laugh at that, which girls don't find funny. It also ignores the fact that there has always also been a scout troop for girls. You may have heard of it, the Girl Scouts.
Boy Scouts, once a proud, clear institution with its own purpose, are dragged into the storm too. There were Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, each strong in its own right. But in the name of inclusion, the boundaries blurred. The woke movement can't resist fixing what isn't broken. What followed was confusion, controversy, and the slow erosion of traditions that taught discipline and leadership. Inclusion turned into intrusion, erasing the very distinctions that once made sense.
Anything just be what it is anymore? Weight Watchers used to be a club for people to lose weight, back when that was a good thing. Now we're so through the looking glass that obesity, the absolute undeniable #1 cause for ill health and death in America, is called body positivity. And people are shamed for losing weight. It happened to Adele. Weight Watchers is so intimidated they changed their name to WW. Why not just call yourselves Wait, don't tell me?
And then the body positivity movement. At first, it stood for confidence and self-acceptance. But soon it twisted into glorifying unhealthy lifestyles and attacking anyone who mentioned health. Science and common sense were buried under slogans and hashtags. Maher calls it what it is, a ticking time bomb wrapped in empowerment. You can't redefine unhealthy as healthy, no matter how loud the chants get. Reality always shows up eventually.
ACL lawyers should consider if the case might cause offense to marginalized groups, or if a potential client's values are contrary to our values. Contrary to our values? Your values are free speech and the First Amendment. Those are your values. Your whole purpose in life is not to be worried about offense to marginalized groups, because we understand that free speech is an even more important value than never being offended.
Finally, the ACLU, the defender of free speech, now tiptoes around feelings. Once a fortress for unpopular voices, it has grown timid under the weight of ideology. Maher doesn't hold back. An institution built on courage now bows to politics. From TV networks and magazines to scouting programs and civil rights organizations, purpose and principle have been hijacked by performative wokeness. They preach inclusion but silence dissent, glorify weakness while scorning strength. His warning is crystal clear. Tearing down traditions isn't progress. It's chaos dressed in compassion. Maher says it openly, fearlessly, and live on air.